Hey, welcome to Mike's Trains, and thanks for joining me for part 2 of doing the interiors and lighting in my train station. So I showed you last week we added this interior. Now since then I've added some of the people in there. That's about all I'm going to put in there. I'm not getting real crazy. When you look through, you can see the outline of figures in there. It's nothing real clear, but you get the idea that they're there. So this is done and it's ready to be lighted now. So let me show you what I've done. First of all, I started with these. These are something really cool. I've never seen these before. I like them a lot. These are circular saw blades for your Dremel. Okay? Now you're asking, why do I need these? And let me show you. So let's put these away. And here it is in the Dremel. And it's actually a pretty cool little tool. I like them a lot. They're good for cutting wood. Now, why do we need to cut wood? Well, let's take a look at our roadway. Now, on our roadway, when we line up with the lower train station, I had mentioned that we were going to pass wires through these elevator shafts, and there's the extra hole I cut to pass the wires through. Of course, the smaller hole here is for the screws to bolt this to the bottom of the roadway. So I have 3 of these. Now, when I showed you the layout of this, I said there was a staircase that goes here and here. And, well, I didn't connect the escalators to under here because you can't see where the escalators enter and leave that lower level. But you can see where these stairs go. Now I have, surprisingly enough, sets of stairs. Now I'm going to take these, I'm going to glue them together, and I'm going to make stairs to go down from this upper level train station down to the lower level. But I had to have a hole cut in here for each one of those. So that's what I did. I cut the holes for it, and those little saw blades did an awesome job on that. Now what I did was I drew out on the bottom side this whole pattern that I drew out that I showed you when I did the interior of this. I drew it all out on here, and then I cut out the holes, and they match up pretty much exactly. I'm a little bit off. So that being said, it's just a little bit of file work on this back edge just to bring the hole back just a touch. Both of these are off just a slight amount. Maybe the thickness of the styrene. But that's enough to deal with. Now, we're going to light that bottom floor now. And this is how we're going to do it. And I've already done a bunch of it. And let me show you what I did. This is what we have. So this is the lighting for that lower section. Now what we have here, what you see, are these LED strips. Now these are off of Amazon. I've used these before in other videos. They come in a strip, and it's 3 lights per strip, and then a copper solder pad. So I can cut these off into 3s. Now on here I opted to run the whole length on both sides. Alright. Now the other thing I have that you can probably see is I have copper here. I have 2 strips. Now what I did was I lined up so that the minus on this side is black is the minus, red is the plus. Black is the minus, red is the plus. I lined them up so they were the same. So I cut them, and I just took it and flipped the other strip over here. And then the copper tape is this stuff here. None of this is very expensive. I think the LED lights was maybe $10 or $12, and there's 300 lights on there. This was about $6 or $8. I don't know. It was less than 20. I can't remember exactly. But this stuff is awesome. It's got an adhesive side and then the copper side. So I cut off 2 strips right here. And I glued a longer one in that goes from the outside edge here to the outside edge here. I glued that one down, and I use CA. I use CA on this as well because the adhesive on these is good, but it's not going to hold up over time, and I know this from experience in the past with other projects. Okay, and then you can see I have the hole here that lines up with the elevator shaft, and this is for the staircase. Now these are the power lines that are going to go to this strip. Now the only thing I need to do with these now is to run them down through the elevator shaft, which is right here. So I need to run them down. So they need to come into the shaft and straight down and out. So this is the underneath. So these will go this way, and these will run into the shaft right here and down out the bottom of the, let's see, down out the bottom of the layout from underneath. So these wires now become invisible, and then I'll CA this wire down so that they don't move and they don't hang down. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see. Let's see if I can get this up. I'll tip this up this way. There we go. So this will go into the shaft, and then they'll turn this way and go right out the holes on the bottom. This other hole, this hole here, is to get the lights from the upper level, the wiring down and out of the station and out of the way. And like I said, this will get CA'd. I'll glue this down in place right here, this one right here, and then these wires are now out of the way. And that's the whole process for this lighting, for this floor. Now this floor, I'm doing it like this. The upper floor, we're going to do that a little different, and I'll tackle that in another video, but I do have plans for that. So let's let me get this the bottom floor bolted onto this. Let me get that floor bolted on, and I'll run the wire out the bottom, and then we'll talk about the brightness of the lights. Let me show you what we have right now and why we have to change how bright they are. These lights are intended to work on 12 volts. Now if you buy the lights, they come with they come already wired for 12 volt lighting. There are small resistors in between every third light so that you can hook up 12 volts to it. We are not going to do 12 volts on this for this reason. That's 12 volts a light, and it's way too bright, and I can see it's already washing out the camera and everything. It's just super bright. It's way too much. So this needs to be dealt with better than this. Yeah, so let me get this lower level bolted on, and we'll start looking at dimming these down, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Alright, so I have this thing propped up. You can kind of see under there. It's not very bright, but it's about the best I can get. So there you go. This is before the lights are on. So let me turn the lights on, and then you can see why we need to dim this down. So this is lit up. This is the full 12 volts. Now I'm running this off of I have a test power supply that I hook these things onto, and I can actually change the voltage. So now I'm going to dim this down to about half that. That's 6 volts. Yeah, so it's about 7.5 volts, 8 volts. Like that is about what we need. So we want to dim it down to be like that, so you can kind of see what goes on in there without it distracting from the rest of the stuff going on. It's bright, you can see it, but it's not any more than that. I think I might even take this down maybe about like that. You know it's lit. This is why I was telling you that you don't really need a lot of detail in there. You just need the hint of that there are things in there, and that's all you need. Like if you were to look around in there and move your head around and stuff, because this is going to be way under there on the layout. You move your head around, you'll be able to see the elevator doors. You can see the color on the signs, but you can't read the signs. You can see the outline of the people, and there's enough in there so no matter how you look at it, you can still see the people. So that's how it's going to go. So that's 7.6 volts. So now I need to cut that voltage from the 12 volts, because I'm running a constant 12 volt as a power supply to this. I'm running a constant 12 volt. I need to cut that 12 volt on the supply lines down here. These supply lines right here, the red and the blacks. I'm going to put a resistor in there to cut that voltage down. So now I know where I need to ride. I know what it looks like. Now I just need to find the right resistor to go in there. Let me give you a look at the top side. You can see where the holes I cut line up with the staircase as well. There you go. This is the staircase holes that I cut. Now within those holes, we're gonna take, and the only reason I'm doing this is because you can see through the big windows in the train station. You can see these holes, and then these stairs will go down in here like this, and I'm gonna run the stairs all the way across. It'll be a wide staircase. I have handrails as well, and you can see that they're pretty well good right here. Everything is just pretty much where it needs to be. And that's it. That's all we need. And then of course I showed you on the bottom side last time, these holes, these wires will go right down the elevator shaft. These screws end up inside the elevator shaft. You know, all of this is hidden. You won't see any of it. So that's the whole plan for this floor. So like I said, now it's just finding the right resistor. So let me set myself back up again, and we'll move over to the other side. Okay, so I have this back set up. I'm back to my original setup now. You can see my hookup wires here, and it's still lit. So, but what I have now is I have this big box. I bought these on Amazon as well. It's a huge assortment of resistors. And they go from, I have from 0 to 900 ohm in one box, and then these are from 1,000 to 1 million ohm. I keep these all in a box. And I'm no electrical genius by any means. I don't really know a lot about this stuff, but I know if I put one of these in here, in the line down here, all I have to do is cut this line and split this line right here. And then I can add the resistor in here, and it cuts the power coming from my main power supply into here. And I just need to find the one. You know, my son knows all of this stuff, the formulas and all this stuff, but I don't, and I really don't want to learn it. So I just do trial and error, and I'll pick one. I think in the roundhouse lighting, I think I used 10,000 ohm resistors in there. So that's probably about what I'll use in here as well. And we'll plug that in, and then I have shrink tubing that will go over the resistor, and we'll shrink that right to the line so it's right in line. And then when I go hook this up, I can hook it straight into 12 volts. Done, finished. I know it's going to light to the exact level that I want it to. And that's all I need to do. And I think this works out pretty slick. All of this goes right down and outside. No wiring showing, and I have no wiring from the bottom floor coming up to the first floor. The only thing I had to do was I had to notch the wall of the elevator shaft right back here for the wire to pass through. And looking inside here, you can't see any of it, which is just what I was looking for, and that's awesome. So anyway, that's all I got for you this week. I just wanted to give you an update on the lighting, and this bottom floor is now complete. And then next week we're going to tackle the upper floor. We're going to tackle the upper floor, and we'll start doing, I have an idea for a floor that's going to go just in this areas that you can see through. I have some interior ideas for that as well. So I think that's going to be it for this week. I'm going to call this video done. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Love to have you following along. If you haven't been to my website yet, it's mikestrains.wordpress.com. If you'd like to see more of my layout and the layout I'm also building for my father, there are pictures of all of that over there. And again, thanks for watching. So until next time, happy modeling.